Hello everyone, welcome back to Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. And in this video, it's going to be a little bit different, and that's because I haven't made a video for probably about a week now. And the reason for this is because I had been preparing, and then I did participate in a tournament that happened just this weekend, which was a Bloodshed in the Shire. And this was a tournament run by Steve Curtis and his crew, who are a great bunch of people. I actually met Steve during my first game at a Warhammer tournament. He was my first opponent. This is back at Warhammer World in one of the heats for the grand final. I want to say it was heat 3, probably about 3 years ago, roughly. But yes, Steve is a great guy. This is his first tournament he ran. It actually went really, really well. There was very, very few hiccups, anything like that. The venue was beautiful, really. It's the only way you can describe it. You know, it looks like a wedding venue, to be all honest. It's actually a all-girls school, which is going to be a High Wycombe Abbey school, and this is the sort of school where millionaires from all around the world send their daughters to for their education, for you know, secondary school stuff. And part of the school was used for Harry Potter, I believe, to be filmed in. So basically a great venue and a great atmosphere there, which was really, really fantastic. Also, a few like little things to mention about the tournament, which was nice, is that there was terrain for every table, and that terrain actually went with the theme of the mats for the table, and it wasn't like a mixture of terrain for the table. It all themed and was cohesive, and really, really did help to, you know, keep that sort of immersion we do love in the games. So that was absolutely awesome. Steve and his crew did a great job to come around the tables to make sure there's no problems or any rule concerns or anything like that. All the games finished really well on time. All the opponents were really good, who I'll go into in a moment. I enjoyed to play against every single one of those. Also, the Honest War game was there streaming it, so that was, you know, an extra bonus really. And there was food provided on both days. So all in all, a really, really good tournament. I would definitely recommend, if you're thinking about going to a tournament, definitely put it in the calendar for one. It would be next year, 2019. I imagine the same sort of time. And yeah, really, really good. Particularly how, for me, myself, the most tournaments I've been to are like Games Workshop ones, so they're ones at Warhammer World and whatnot. So when you go to some of the independent ones, they can sometimes not be as good, in my honest opinion. However, Steve's one was great. The first day Saturday, there's a couple little hiccups of things like sort of like timing for the food and stuff like that, but that happens at a lot of tournaments. But the one good thing to mention about, you know, I say like little couple of hiccups, that was on Saturday, and then it was fixed by Sunday. Sunday was a lot more smoother, everything. So definitely learned. And from the first time doing a tournament, and this is I probably should have said this earlier, this is an 80-person tournament. You know, it's not particularly small. A lot of big names there, very competitive, and very, very, you know, like high tensions, all that sort of thing, all in a good way. And it went really, really well. I can't even imagine how the fun, shall we say, that's involved in adding up all the results and stuff after every game for, you know, the 40 games that will be played there. But no, really well done, and a big congratulations for him, and I look forward to the one next year, as I will be attending that best I can. So that was that particular tournament. Now, what I want to talk about also is, and this sort of leads into the games I had, is I have not been to a proper competitive Age of Sigmar tournament for probably about 2 years or something like that, before 2nd edition. We're talking about 1st edition, Flesh Eater Courts, you know, the first book, all that sort of thing. And this is again due to work, not having the time to be able to go to these tournaments and practice and whatnot. However, I plan to go to tournaments next year, and I plan to go to about 3, something like that. And I was going to train between now and then to try and get, you know, good at the game again, get back and sing. Because like I say, I do a lot of rule reading and all that sort of thing, but I don't, like many of you as well, don't always have time to play a game. So I'm not, you know, like I say, completely honest with you guys, I'm not always right. I do sort of like theorise a lot of things and go from my past experience. But the thing is, the game has changed so much in the last couple of years, well, just basically since the last time I've been to a tournament. So what I wanted to do is wait until next year to go to a tournament. But the reason why I went to one last weekend is purely because it was Steve's one, and I wanted to go to his first tournament, and thought it would be absolutely fantastic, which it was, like I say. But also because I was like, I'm going to go to a tournament. I haven't practiced the game. I haven't played my army, all these sorts of things yet, until I go to that tournament, you know, the one just last weekend, Bloodshed. And I was thinking, you know what, if I go to Bloodshed, it will be a very, 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 very steep learning curve, but I will learn a lot. I have no doubt that I will no longer have my anal virginity at the end of it, but I just hope people use lube. That's the only question I've got. So, I thought, what a great way to learn. It'll be very hard. It'll be difficult, shall we say, to get back onto the scene with competitive players there, trying to win games and all that sort of thing. And the summary of my wins and losses, that I got 4 major losses and 1 major win. So I still won 1 game, which was nice. But to be honest, I was just happy I won 1 game. Because when you've been out of the competitive scene for such a long time, it's all very well, reading the rules and, thinking how it will play in the game. But obviously when you play in the game and dice are involved and you actually, are on the table, it's completely different. You can do what you can with, maths hammer, whatever you want to call it. But when you're actually doing the practical side of it, you learn a lot more. And that's what happened to me. So it was a case of, I did lose the majority of my games, but I have learned loads for the next tournament I go to, which might be as soon as this weekend coming at Blood and Glory in Derby, potentially, because I've got a little bit of like a tournament bug at the moment where I want to keep on going to as many as I can. And it would just be a great other experience to learn. And if I can win 2 out of those 5 games, it's better and better and better. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for short-term, mass wins or anything like that. I'm looking to just get better every time. Of course, it would be nice to win all your games, but I'm not an idiot. Well, I like to think not. So it would just be nice to show that I'm learning from my experiences, and that's what I plan to do. And before I took a break from the competitive scene, I was sort of winning like 3-4 games, out of 5 or 6, and I was very happy with that. So, like I say, not gonna lie, when I only won 1 game, I was a little bit like, that's a massive drop in performance. But in all realisticness, yeah, of course I made some big mistakes, but Age of Sigmar has changed a lot since 2-3 years ago. A huge amount has changed in Age of Sigmar in terms of what armies are viable now, who are winning the tournaments, different rules, 2nd edition, it all comes into play. But yeah, so that's why I wanted to give you guys a bit of a summary of my thoughts of the tournament and then like why I went to the tournament. But now let's talk about the 5 games I played and the armies. Now this is going to be a quick summary as I can't remember every single game off by heart and I can't remember every single list, but I will go through a rough summary and just basically do a quick few minutes to tell you what it was like. So the first one I played against, and this is going to belong to Max Barton, and this essentially was an IDNF army, so IDNF Deepkin, which contained 27 eels. Now, I heard of such myths and legends that there were that many eels out there in Age of Sigmar, but I'd never had the joy of fighting it myself. So I'm used to sort of probably fighting around the region of about 12 eels, but 27, yeah, that's quite a lot. And basically with that game, with my Flare army, because that's what, sorry I should have said, yeah, what I took was some Flesh-Eater Court, so I took the Blisterskin, and that was a Point Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, an Arch Regent, Crypt Infernal Courtier, so the hero for the flares to bring them back, a unit of 9 flares, 2 units of 3 flares, the Dead Watch Battalion, a Corpse Cart, 10 Dire Walls, and the Bale Wind Vortex. So that's what I took. So some elements there what I've seen in quite a few other lists at tournaments and whatnot, but this was a bit different, chucking in the Dire Walls there, chucking in the Corpse Cart. Well, some people still do, but I haven't seen anyone else take a Bale Wind. So it was all experimental, haven't played the game for a while, see what we got. So with that army, it's an army that can charge the enemy turn 1. Now, Max knew this very much so he deployed in a way that it would be very hard for me to get to him turn 1. As I had less drops, I chose who went first. So because he deployed pretty much in the corner, I thought, and also this battle plan was total commitment, so he couldn't deploy his eels in as reinforcements. They had to deploy all on the table at the same time. So he deployed right in his far corner, and I deployed everything to try and charge in turn 1. So I move everything up, try and charge in turn 1, fail the charge, but then I'm like, well, I'm just banking everything on turn 2, winning that priority. Because, Max didn't really do much in his first turn, as I gave him it, because it's all put in the corner. Turn 2 priority, Max wins it, Max charges me, wipes out most of my army, because I left it in a very, very vulnerable position, because I didn't really have enough units left for screens and all that sort of thing, or nothing that can match the speed of the flares to be able to screen them. So the flares had a very, very bad time and very sore bottoms. Right, and then basically that happened. The Terrorgeist died, all went a bit pear-shaped. I was winning like the first part of the game, then it all went downhill because I was just banking on winning the priority. Unfortunately, I didn't win it, and that's pretty much how that game went. His eels just went around destroying everything, and I found out what it's like to fight 27 eels. Now, what I will say about Max, and this goes for the rest of the opponents as well, is fantastic people. Like, even if they got competitors, my list, some people might think, it's a bit nasty as well, because, it's a tournament, isn't it, at the end of the day. But really, really good people, absolutely laugh, and would happily play against them again, definitely. Okay, so the next one we're going to play against, and this is game 2, and this is, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right, is Tech Loy Low, I believe. And this was a gentleman that had a Deep King army again, so I had just played them. This one had less eels in it though. From memory, it had probably around the region of 18 eels, something like that. Maybe less, maybe a few more. But what he had instead, what I thought was cool, he had an Eidolon, and I hadn't really fought an Eidolon before, so I thought this was interesting. I was happy, it's a cool model, isn't it, the Eidolon? So in case you're not too sure, the Eidolon is the Idoneth Deep King guys, and if you're really not too sure what they are, they're basically the Sea Elves. And he's the big hero that's riding on a wave cloak, like the one that looks like it shouldn't be able to support itself. That is what he had, and I thought that was really quite cool to fight against. Against him, what basically went wrong is I think I mucked up deployment a bit, and then I took the first turn. This was on Scorched Earth, so you can burn the enemy objectives and turn 2, but around 2. So I took the first turn just to be able to score objectives and sort of reposition myself a little bit from the mistakes I made. And then I was banking on, and then he moved up. He was very aggressive turn 1. He charged me. He wiped out a unit of 3 flares that was holding an objective, but he couldn't burn the objective after he killed them because it was still the first battle round. And my plan was those 3 flares he just killed with 6 eels. I believe there were 6. Yeah, 6 eels. My plan is I had a Terrorgeist that was ready to just counter strike them, just counter charge them if I won the priority. Alas, I didn't win the priority. The eels charged the Terrorgeist and killed the Terrorgeist, unfortunately. And then it was basically just a bit of a slog of I was killing his units and he was killing mine, and then he did win and burn the objectives for sure. And that's basically how that game went as well. You'll notice there'll be a bit of a running theme with how I played the army. Is I didn't really play it safe. I should have played it a bit safer. I should have played a bit more conservative, a bit more defensive. But I just wanted to. I hadn't played for a long time Age of Sigmar. I just wanted to charge, kill, charge, kill, charge, kill, and that didn't really work out so much. But I, would not be the same conversation if I won those priorities, because then I would have killed a lot more things and it would be a bit different. But I definitely made some mistakes. However, I did play with a lot of risk involved, and it didn't turn out. But it's a dice game, isn't it, at the end of the day? So that was Tech Loy Low. So yeah, absolutely fantastic chap to play against, and really, really nice army. So going into the next one, which is number 3, and this is going to be Will Johnson, and this is going to be a Blades of Khorne. However, he took it pretty much exclusively, if not completely, Khorne Bloodbound, which I thought was an absolute joy, mainly because Khorne Bloodbound is something I played a lot at the start of Age of Sigmar. I know we're going back, what was that, 4-5 years, roughly, and it was an army I played a lot then. I haven't really played much of it since, so it was a bit nice sort of nostalgia, if you want to call it, seeing the army again, because I've played against demons. We get demons just annoying, blocks of bloodletters and bloodthirsts and stuff, so it was cool to see something different, essentially. And the chat was absolutely fantastic, really, really great. And what was really, really nice for me in this game is basically my riskiness of trying to charge everything turn 1, try and get priorities, all these sorts of things. I pulled it off. I won the priority, and then I managed to basically, I think turn 1, half of our armies were destroyed, or half of his army might have been destroyed, and then my unit flare, 9 flares down to 1 flare or something like that, and then I managed to bring them all back when I won the priority. So it paid off for me, which was really nice, especially after 2 games of trying to get the priority and failing for turn 2. I managed to get it this time. And again, I should probably tell you that it was also the battle plan, which was Arcane Places of Power. So this is the one where you capture the objectives with your heroes, and there's 3 in the sort of centre of the board going in a diagonal from one board corner to the other board corner. And with that, I only have 3 heroes to start with, and the Terrorgeist just want to charge straight in there, and the Archregent basically just sits on top of a Balewind Vortex. So I only basically had 1 hero until the Archregent tried to summon something later. Start with only 1 hero to hold an objective. So I would have been really struggling if things didn't go my way, like priority rolls and all these sorts of things, because I was literally just clocking points with one, just only controlling 1 objective for the whole game. There's 2 objectives still to play. The fact that I could stop his heroes getting to me, because his Bloodbound heroes, he had a lot of them, he had at least 5, but you know, they're all foot heroes, and how my unit of 9 flares and my Terrorgeist sort of all tied them up so they couldn't really get to them. Really did work out well for me. But no, that was a fantastic game. Like I say, I really enjoyed fighting that army because I hadn't seen it for a long time, and I just think the Bloodbound is so much cooler than demons. Don't care. And the thing is, he didn't even have like a demon hero to be like, oh, he's in there for, I don't know, competitive choice or something like that. It was just like, no, Bloodbound, if I summon any demons, that's cool narratively. And I was like, yeah, I completely respect that. That's awesome. And he summoned a Bloodthirster at the end of the game, which is quite funny, and it managed to kill a lot of things. So that was a jolly good game, that was. And that was, like I say, that was the game I won. So that was really nice. And ended the day on a good day after the 2 losses. So the next game, and this is going to be on day 2. So this is on the Sunday, it's just been. And this was against a Alex Jones. Now, Alex Jones, never met him before, like the rest of the chaps. And he, again, was a really nice player. He had a Skaven army. Now, I hadn't really played much of Skaven. I only played them once since their book. And I heard a lot of people say things about Skaven and the players who play them. So I was a little bit like, oh, you know, it's just going to be a bit of a... not the funnest game, shall we say. But no, Alex was a really nice gentleman. Like, little things as well. He had like loads of tokens and stuff to help him when he plays games and all these sorts of things, to measure things and all that. And... basically, you know, and he just basically, you know, send me loads of links to all this sort of stuff to help you with your games, like tokens and like, you know, different ways to measure things. Because he actually had this, how do I describe it, like this, almost like a metal stick that like sort of screw, like basically was made out of, I don't know, like 12 pieces, and each pieces you unscrewed them with your fingers, and when you unscrewed them, it took an inch off it. So essentially, you could make measuring much more easier than with a tape measure. I'm sure you guys are already aware of these sorts of things, but I hadn't seen them before, so I thought it was really cool. And yeah, fantastic chap. He also had the pleasure of showing me what Plague Monks to do even when you charge them, and oh my god, they can cause so much damage, and they don't even cost that much in points. So if you don't get me wrong, if you've got shooting, Plague Monks aren't a problem really too much, as long as you can set up your screens and all that sort of stuff, and bubble wraps. But if you don't really have shooting, like my army didn't, and my army with loads of flares and a Terrorgeist in it is a very shooty army for death at this current moment in time, and I couldn't really even kill them with that. So yeah, bad times for the flares, who had a very, like I say, lots of sore bottoms all around here for the flares. And then the Terrorgeist, who I said, basically in this, again, I set up to try and get the turn 2 priority, because the Terrorgeist failed his charge, so it's sort of like turn 2 gets the charge in. Now, with him, unfortunately, though, he got charged by a, I think it's called is it a Verminlord Warp Gnaw or something? It's basically the Forge World Verminlord, which is an awesome model. He got counter-charged by that, and that did 20 damage to the Terrorgeist, who had also taken, I want to say, 5 mortal wounds from Jezzails, who my opponent had. Yeah, Alex had 6 Jezzails that all shot the Terrorgeist, and Terrorgeist was -1 to enemy shooting as well. So the Terrorgeist had a very, very bad time and was cut up into lots of different pieces. And basically, when I lost the Unit 9 flares and the Terrorgeist, it all spiraled down wrong, shall we say. But the most important thing about that game is my converted corpse cart killed a clan rat. That for me is the moral victory, and that is where I'm going to leave it. But in all honesty though, Alex's army, like all the armies again that I was up against, Alex's army was very nicely painted. It was actually nominated for best painted. I think it came very close to winning, and he's a commission painter. and he did fantastic basing and all this. And I've actually got a photo what I'll be putting up as well. And just one more thing about that game, it was also total conquest, so that was the battle plan for it. You know, where you control an objective, you get 1 point. If you take the objective from the enemy, you get 2 points. And then bringing us on to our last game, which was Battle for the Past, and this is played against a chap called James Hanson, who was a really nice young man who called me sir enough times that I felt he really did respect me as a knight of one of the Grand Courts, or Blisterkin, which I thought was really, really cool. And he was rocking Fire Slayers. Now, Fire Slayers, I have not played them since their new book came out. So I was actually really thought this would be really cool, really fun. I haven't played Fire Slayers, you know, be a good laugh. Turns out they have 2 wins now instead of 1. Turns out they can attack you before you attack them, and they just don't die. But apart from that, it was actually a really, really fun game. Really did enjoy it, and was a bit close to the end, but I did lose that game. But it was a great experience, and I couldn't really have asked for a nicer opponent, I think, in all honesty. The only thing that I found was a bit funny is when my Terrorgeist was making 6 attacks with its maw, re-rolling all failed ones, 6 doing 6 mortal wounds to hit, and then it would do a feeding frenzy, so it would attack twice in a row straight away, and it did 42 mortal wounds with its maw against, I think it's Hearthguard Berserkers they're called, I might get that a bit wrong, but essentially the Fire Slayer infantry with the big axes that do 2 damage a pop with -1 rend, I believe. He did 42 mortal wounds to them, and only I can't believe this, I think only like 1 or 2 of them died, and I was just human. I think they only took 3 more wounds in the end, and I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. But you know, it's all very much me sort of saying they're too strong, they don't die, but I bring back my Flesh Eater Court army 4 wound models, so I can't really say, oh, that's too durable, but and then someone go, well, you bring back 4 wound models and a 5 up. So yeah, fair enough, but fuck me, that army is, I basically, out of all the armies I played, I would definitely say I learnt the most about a certain army I played against. It had to be Fire Slayers. I learnt a lot about them, which I didn't know before, in the space for about 2 hours fighting them. So in summary of the tournament, overall, like I've already said, I had a really good time, a great venue, great place, great people as well. I didn't have a single opponent who was, you know, quote unquote that guy, which is absolutely great. Play against any one of them any other time. But for me, the most important thing is I have learnt so much from that tournament, and that is what I went to go to. I didn't go to win all my games. Obviously, if I won loads of games, I wouldn't say no. But I went there to learn, and I really did manage to do that. I think, in all honesty, if you guys are thinking about going to tournament, but you're not really competitive, or it's one of those, you don't want to lose, anything like that. Basically, you're unsure about going to one because of the competitive aspect, or you're sort of like, haven't got too much experience with your army. If you can afford to go one, do go to one, because like I say, I've learned so much. For me, that experience I got in 2 days of learning what it's like to play the new Flesh Eater Courts, and also to play out there against all these different new armies in the new meta, which Age of Sigmar has got, I would not have learned as much as I learned in those 2 days any other way. It would take about 3 or 4 months of playing one game a month or something to learn that much. But even then, not the same, because like around here, like in my local place, I love the armies to fight against, obviously, because they're my mates, but they're the same armies all the time, so you don't learn by fighting against these different ones. And that is why it's important to go to these tournaments, sort of shock the system a little bit with your army, or even if you haven't been to a tournament, you play locally and you think you're quite competitive, go to a tournament, just test your army really, and then use the first one as your tester, and then the next one, if you do like not too well like I did, and you only win 1 game, next time, like I'm going to do if I go to this tournament this weekend coming, I'm going to try and win 2 games to the 1 game, and I'm going to take a completely different list. My Flesh Eater Courts, the army, but it would have 2 Terrorgeist and a zombie dragon, and those 3 monsters will have the Ghoul Kings on top. So it won't have flares. It'll be very different. But for me, I would say it's best to just take the same list and just practice, and then you get the best you can. But I want to experience all the different parts of Special Courts. I've talked about them enough. I used to play them enough, and now I want to see what they're all like. So, and like I said, I plan to go to loads of tournaments in the next, 365 days. So I can afford to go to another tournament, do really badly, but learn how certain things work and certain things don't work. But yes, guys, so that is really, all in all, the summary of the tournament. I wanted this to be a quick video. Didn't really turn out that way. But, you know me, I always ramble, and I like to just basically talk about how it all went. And something else I noticed when I went there is all these people, all these well-known people who play Age Sigma and all that sort of thing, competitive or otherwise, they're basically all on Twitter. And Twitter is something I have never used. I started Instagram, which I need to do a few more posts on there, but Twitter I've never used. And then people saying I have to get Twitter because that's where it's all at. So I have downloaded Twitter. I will do a video on that now to make you guys aware. I'll do that at some point in the future. And then you guys can add me on that sort of thing. And basically, the more social media, the better, I guess, how that works. But no, it's great to be able to chat to all these tabletop gamers on that, Twitter for sure. So, guys, I hope you very much enjoyed this video. If you did so, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. If you've got any questions about tournaments or like just thinking about, if you'd like to go to one or not, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. This is, like I say, a bit of a different video, this one, but I just wanted to let you guys know why I've made a video for a little while and what I've been up to, and, basically my own hobby, essentially. And what my experience was from going to a tournament after a very long time. And yes, guys, so I will try and make another video before I go to the tournament this weekend, if I do go to it, to give you guys a bit more content before I go off to another tournament, potentially. And if you guys got any suggestions for videos, let me know down in the comments. So, guys, I thank you very much for watching this, and particularly my patrons for all the support they give. And, if you're a subscriber, you do a fantastic job too. Until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in the gash.